guys, VeganMommyDee here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here. So this week's video is going to be a what I eat in a day video. Cooked really simple meals. As you will see, it was a very busy day for me, so I was actually choosing, like you'll see in the morning, the quickest and easiest breakfast that I could actually come up with that was healthy. So I'm starting my morning off with just watermelon. We have this awesome watermelon, and so I wanted to at least eat half of it, and that way I could run out the door because it was a very busy morning. So I'm just going to enjoy my watermelon, and I had lemon water, and I did have coffee. So for lunch, I'm going to pound back a whole bunch of veggies, and the easiest way that I know of doing a lot of veggies for a meal other than just a basic salad is to make a bowl. So I had some leftover rice, so I'm going to be using that, and then adding in all my veggies and creating my yummy veggie bowl. So depending on what I have already in the fridge, already pre-made, if I have potatoes, I will cut those up and make fries, or I will just eat them as is, maybe topped with some of my jalapeno sauce or sriracha, and I'll have that as well. But because I had the rice, that's what I'm using for my bowl. So I find that making these veggie bowls is really good because I'm able to get in a lot of extra veggies into my diet, and I hit all of my targets for the day. I also find that I use up all the veggies that I would normally just waste if I don't come up with ideas like this. So I'm able to incorporate all those veggies that are almost going bad, but I refuse to throw them out, so they're going to become a veggie bowl. So the dressing that I'm putting on my bowl is actually just balsamic vinegar, and I put Dijon and a tiny bit of maple syrup, whisked it all together, and just created a simple, very easy sauce. And I'm just adding a little bit on top, and then I also added just a tiny bit of tamari on my rice. So because I'm moving, I'm actually looking through my cupboards to see what I need to use up, and sesame seeds are definitely something that I need to use, and I don't want to throw them out, so I'm adding some on top of my bowls now and incorporating that into my diet. That way I don't waste my sesame seeds. So I also added a little bit of sriracha as well to my rice, just to kick it up a notch and add some heat. So that's it, a very super easy and healthy lunch that will keep me full for many, many hours. And again, everything here is very low calorie density, so I'm able to eat in such a great volume. So for dinner, I'm just going to be making some collard wraps. So collards are basically, I think, in the kale family. I use it a lot as wraps, but we also use it in Portuguese cuisine for soups. So they're just very, very healthy, and I love using them as a wrap because they're actually really sturdy compared to using kale as a wrap, which I also enjoy. But if I can do collards, which we have in the garden, that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just chopping up my potatoes because I'm going to air fry them, but I am going to pre-season them. Most of the time I don't actually season them. I season it maybe with a little bit of salt if I'm using it afterward. Usually I don't put anything except a little bit of sugar-free ketchup on my air fries, but this time I decided just to kick them up a notch and add some seasoning. So I'm adding in these basic seasonings, mixing it up, and then popping them in the air fryer. So I'm just going to be adding this to my wraps. It's my black bean spread, and usually I do it with kale. I didn't have kale inside the house available, so I just used a bunch of mixed greens to make this dip, but I do have the recipe that I made a few weeks back, I believe, so I can link that below, and that way you guys can make the same dip if you want to. And then I also made an oil-free hummus. And the reason why it's kind of orangey is because I added a ton of paprika because I love paprika, and I put a little bit of cayenne as well. So this is a super easy dinner, but it is super filling, and by having the dips available to me and pre-making them, I have that available and I can just quickly make a dinner, and it's going to be very filling, very healthy, and I'm getting all my nutrients in, and I don't have to fuss about, adding in or making extra things because I've already got stuff in the fridge. So that is a major tip. Always keep something in the fridge that you can use in a pinch, and that way you've got something that you can quickly mix up and make a wonderful dinner. So here I am just assembling my wraps. Very simple. I'm adding my black bean spread. It's usually black bean and kale spread, but this time I used my mixed greens. It also worked great. And then I also add my hummus in, top it with maybe 3 potatoes because they're pretty large. As you can see, my potatoes were massive. This one only has 2, but usually I put 3 potatoes in each wrap, depending on the size of the potato. And then that's it. It's just super easy. So I wanted to include Jeff Novick's chart for his calorie density. And why I want to include it is because it shows you very clearly the idea behind calorie density. If you stick to foods that are lower in calorie density, you're able to eat a lot more foods. So if you're sticking to potatoes, rice, veggies, fruits, those are all going to be lower in calorie density, which means you can eat a lot more of it per pound than you would if you were eating animal products, dairy products, oil, nuts and seeds. Those are all higher in calorie densities. So choosing those foods that are lower in calorie density means that you can eat greater amounts of food, and you are not going to be burdened by all those extra calories like oil, which 1 tablespoon of oil is 130 calories. That's a lot of extra calories per meal, and people don't realize that just cooking with that little bit of oil or drizzling a little bit of oil on your salad, you're increasing your calorie intake tremendously. So this doesn't mean that I never have avocados, that I never have dates, because those are 2 things that are higher in calorie density. It just means I have them less often and I have smaller quantities of them. I'll still have nuts and seeds, but in very small quantities. If you have a lot of weight to shed, then I would say stay away from them completely until you have lost the amount of weight that you want to lose, and then introduce them slowly in small amounts back into your diet. I hope this gives you a brief idea of what calorie density is, and you can take a look at this awesome chart that I popped in the video for you, and that way you can kind of get a glimpse of what calorie density looks like and what types of foods you should be gearing towards and which ones you should be staying away from. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you again to the new subscribers.